Well, hello. It is I, Derek Hartley.
And it's me, Romaine.
She has no last name anymore.
Nope, just Romaine. I like Romaine. You call me Romaine. You call me Romaine the Pain, but it's Romaine nonetheless.
Are you like Cher now? You only have one name?
Yes, I've always wanted to be one of those one named wonders.
How's that working out for you?
I think it's all right. There aren't a lot of Romaines in the world, so I think I'm doing okay.
If only you hadn't made another Romaine in the world who will try to usurp your fame.
I know. What was I thinking?
I don't know.
I don't like it. It's fine. It's okay. Anyway,
Is
Derek, you're
it?
looking
Okay.
quite cute and springy today, or summery in that pink shirt of yours.
I am. I bought this. I've had this shirt this should not surprise anyone. I've had
20
this
years.
shirt for
20
an
years.
extremely long time, almost 20 years.
20 years.
And I bought it because I was going to Denver for Pride, I assume. So it was probably like 2005, maybe 2006. And I was going
20
to Pride
years.
in Denver. And before I left, because I was going, I think Clay Lee was there. He was going to be there. And it's like, oh, well, if you're going to be in town for Pride, then I'm going to come up for Pride because he lives in Texas. And then he was like, oh, we got invited to the pink shirt party. Because apparently there are gays in
Pink shirt
Denver.
party.
Yeah, there are gays in Denver that do a pink party where everybody wears pink. And he's
Huh.
like, something pink. I didn't have anything. So I went to the Izod store in Rockefeller Center and picked this up literally the day before I was flying off to Denver for the weekend. So I bought this for the pink party in Denver, and I've had it ever since. And I do like it. It is springy, summery. I'm not a bold color person in general.
No.
And so this is probably like the boldest color thing I have. But it's nice to mix things up. But I promise next week during our summer sessions, I will wear some DNR merch from our shop.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like that because
Because
I usually design it. So,
right. Well, we have a diversified business model here at Derek and Romaine, so I might as well, promote the merch.
sure, sure, sure.
And
Makes
what about
sense.
you? What are you wearing today, Romaine, for our
I am
summer
wearing
session?
this lovely Johnny Cupcakes t-shirt that makes my boobies look like nipples. Doop, boop, 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 boop.
Oh,
And then I'm wearing my Darth Vader baseball cap today.
so neither of us are wearing any DNR merch.
Not to evidently not this week, I guess. But I'll tell you what, I'll match you next week. I will also wear something DNR related. I don't know what,
All right. Well,
but
we'll have to see if
something.
we'll have to see if we're wearing the exact same outfit next week.
Yeah, I look forward to finding out.
All right. Well, this is the very first episode of our summer sessions. This is a short run YouTube series that we are doing basically to shamelessly promote our live daily radio show that you can subscribe to at dnrstudios.com and listen to through our DNR Cast app, which is available in the Apple App Store and in the Google Play Store. And all subscribers to Derek and Romaine or DNR Plus can listen to our show through the app. And when you subscribe, you also get a private URL. So if you have a favorite podcast player, you can still listen to our show through your own favorite podcast player with a private URL. So if you've ever listened to a podcast through Patreon, we have a similar private URL link like that you can do. It's on your account page. It's really easy to listen and take our show anywhere you go. But for those of you who are not tech savvy, it's really easy. Subscribe on our website, download the app in the App Store, log into the app, and you're there. You're
And
done. It's
boom,
easy.
there you have it. Super easy. Take me to the beach.
Yes.
I
And
want to go on your vacation.
thank you to those of you who have been subscribing for the last 8.5 years to our show. We hope you enjoy this weekly YouTube series that you can watch us on TV. We do a lot of cruises and we're out on the road and we see listeners in person. And when we go a long stretch without doing a cruise or a theme park event, people miss us. They miss our face.
Aww. Okay, that's sweet. But
So
they do
here's the
miss us, and we
format.
miss them.
I know it's very sweet. So here's our format for the summer session. So we'll cover three topics, and then at the end, if we have any viewer feedback, we will talk about that at the end. So
Okay,
I know Romaine's already nervous.
I am.
But the first segment is something that comes from our Facebook group, from people who are in
Mm.
our Facebook group. Romaine, who is managing this in our Facebook group, and what is it?
So our listener Maria has been doing this now for several years. Every day she bathes, or every week, or how often is it? I don't
Every
even
day.
know.
It's a
It
question
is
of the
every day.
day.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's the question of the day. She asks I don't know how she comes up with all these questions, by the way. I think she recruits other listeners to give her questions. She comes up with them. I would have run out of questions a long time ago, but she does this question of the day thing on our Derek and Romaine Facebook group, and the listeners just all participate and answer the questions. I answer the questions a lot of the time because I find them to be really delightful and fun. And she just does it because she loves doing it. And when she's out of town, she recruits other listeners to take over for her. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, Derek, the question of the day. And it is quite entertaining and a lot of fun. So we decided that as part of our summer sessions, we would take a few of our favorite questions and we would answer them.
Yes, and hopefully it will encourage you. If you're still on Facebook, then you could start participating in the question of the day in our Facebook group. It's a good way to have a low stakes interaction with
Yeah,
other
yeah, yeah.
listeners. The question of the day, the first question of the day that we'll cover here on our summer
Okay.
session is, what is the best meal you've had recently?
Oh, this is a hard one, but not that hard. So the best meal that I've had recently actually was with two listeners. So
Okay.
one of them is Adam from Scruffy Town, who I spent a lot of time hanging out with, and then another it was Damn Daniel. He had come to New York for his birthday, and he invited Iris and I to join him and Adam in the city for Korean barbecue. Now, I don't know if you know this about me, Derek, but I love Korean food. It's one of my favorite types of food to have. I only discovered it after I moved to New York. My brother Saban actually introduced me to Korean food. There was this great little Korean restaurant down in Lower East Village where he lived, and we used to
They
go and
don't
have
have
lunch there.
they don't have any Korean food in Wyoming where you grew up? I'm so surprised.
Actually, the funny thing is there was one Korean restaurant, but my parents never went because they were white people who only did white people things and didn't believe in trying any food of any other ethnicity.
Yeah, because white people don't eat Asian food. And that's why Panda
Swear to
Express
God.
went out of business.
I mean, the only Chinese food that my family ate was American Chinese food. If they actually ate real Chinese food, they wouldn't eat it. They
I
wouldn't do
think
it.
I think most Americans would not recognize actual Chinese food if it was put in front of them because they're
Correct.
used to American Chinese food.
Exactly. So that's my point. But there were very few restaurants of any different ethnicity where I grew up. It was all like steak places and beef and potatoes and corn. Like those were the staples I grew up eating,
They
right?
have corn.
So moving to New York where there's all kinds of food varieties, I really fell in love with a lot of them, and Korean is one of them. So I like just like a straight up Korean restaurant, but I really love a Korean barbecue. And for people who don't know, basically they cook the food. It's like a little barbecue grill that's right in the middle of your table, and they cook the food on it. And we went to this restaurant in the city that is a Michelin star rated something or another, very fancy Korean barbecue restaurant. And I will say that was it was a great meal for several reasons. One, the food was great, but more importantly, the atmosphere was a lot of fun and the company made it super, super great. So I would say that's the best meal I've had recently. What about you?
All right. Well, I will also I will throw in as a shameless plug because we are our own sponsor, that on the Virgin Voyages ships,
Oh
they
yeah.
have a Korean barbecue restaurant called Gunbae, where you sit with it's like six people,
Six to
right?
eight people, yeah.
Yeah. And it's actually really fun. It's kind of a long evening because they have like a drinking game that they play along and everything. So, it's great if you don't have other plans and you want to spend 3 hours at dinner. But the food is excellent,
Yeah.
like it is on all the Virgin ships. And next year, we're doing a crossing from Miami to Barcelona that goes through the Canary Islands and to Casablanca. We're going for the waters. It's an inside joke for old movie fans. And but I'm sure we'll be eating there on our way because it's a 15-day cruise. We'll have a lot of time.
Well, and I will say, so I know we have our Bermuda cruise coming up this fall, and a lot of our listeners will be staying in the city. And if I'm not mistaken, the host hotel is very, very close to Koreatown, where a lot of these Korean restaurants are,
Yeah.
like on 32nd, between 32nd and 30th, Midtown. And I'm telling you, if you're in town and you are staying in that area, highly, highly recommend checking out some of those Korean restaurants that are right there near the host hotel because they are good.
So the best meal I've had recently is this will melt Romaine's little heart.
Oh,
Was because I mean, look, I eat a lot of good food all the time. But I'll be honest, the best meal I had recently was we were driving back from the travel show in DC. And Romaine really wanted to stop at a Waffle House along the way so she could get the pecan waffles
because
and
I
take
love them.
waffles home. And we got there and it was right around a shift change. We talked about it on the show. It was right around a shift change and they didn't have anything. And the batter has to sit for a while, it has to get cold, and then he puts on the thing. So we had to wait like quite a long time.
Literally over an hour. I think it was like an
Yeah.
hour and a half by the time it was all
Yeah,
said and
it was
done.
pretty much an hour and a half, but we were willing to wait because there wasn't another Waffle House on our path home, and we just sat and we had a great time at that Waffle House
Yeah.
and waiting for our waffles, and it was delicious. It was worth the wait. So I have to say, I think that in the totality was the best meal I've had recently.
Oh, that's a lovely one. And that was a great meal.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was great.
those pecan waffles after we waited an hour and a half, they hit the spot right in my belly.
Also, I like one of the things when we've talked about this before about the reason that we've stuck together for 21 years is that we travel really well together. We tend to be on the same wavelength food wise.
Yes.
And so, usually on our trips, the food, even though it's not like the fanciest food ever, it's usually my favorite memories on the trips. Doing Phoenix Pride and driving through the Jack in the Box next to that strip club, and then taking our Jack in the
Did
Box
that
back to the hotel.
every year.
Yeah, every year it would be like hot and sweaty, like you're just covered in like sticky sweat and sunscreen. And it's
Yeah.
the end of the day, the end of Saturday, and we would drive through that Jack in the Box right around the corner from the park and look over at the strip clubs. They would always be having like a buffet lunch the weekend of Pride. And it's like, who's coming here on Pride weekend?
No one. No one.
No one. But we would get our Jack in the Box there and go back to our hotel and veg out in our room, our separate rooms, and have our Jack in the Box. But like to me, our travel food rituals are among my favorite.
I agree. I totally agree.
All right. So that's the first section here on our summer session. The second one is a recent story that we didn't cover on the show that we wish we had. And so I will start. And my story is about men raw dogging flights.
I don't even know what that means. What is happening here?
So we travel a lot, obviously, with the cruises,
Yeah.
show and everything. And so this new trend, almost exclusively, but probably not entirely with men, is what they have been calling raw dogging the flight, which is sitting on the plane for the entire time and not listening to anything or watching anything other than the flight tracker, not eating, just sitting almost in a meditative state for the entire length of the flight.
What?
Yeah. This is
Who can do that? That's fucking weird.
Well, there are men where this is their thing, and now they're like in a thing about it of like, oh, this is what I do, and this is how I do it, and they get into like a Zen meditative kind of a thing about it. But like there was a guy who's like, yeah, I sat on a plane for 7 hours and I didn't have any water or food, and I just sat there and stared straight ahead for 7 hours. Your thoughts, Romaine?
I'm confused by it a little bit because I mean, I listen. Okay, first of all, I understand meditation. I'm a believer in meditation. I think meditation can be very good for you emotionally, spiritually, even physically. I think it can have positive impact. So I'm not adverse to the idea of sitting in a meditative space and allowing yourself to kind of relax and go into that kind of zen. Okay, I get that. For fucking 8 hours? I don't get that. Also, do they not get up and pee? I assume they don't get up and pee. They don't do anything, right? This is just we're gonna sit here, we're gonna stare straight ahead. Um, I mean, it certainly is a way of disconnecting, I guess. And what better place to do it than on a plane where you don't really know anyone, and you really don't have anywhere to go? Or, I mean, there are things you could do, but most of those things require some kind of technology or whatever. And they don't sleep.
Apparently not. No.
They just sit there and zone out. I mean, I think it's strange. I mean, but I mean, listen, if it has some kind of positive impact on them, I guess go for it. I think I'd be bored out of my fucking mind and would want to die. But that's me. As it is, I get so bored on flights, even when I have like downloaded TV shows or movies or my book. You don't even know the amount of shit I bring to entertain myself during flights because I
I
usually
know
can't sleep.
we fly together all the time. I know how much crap you bring.
Yeah, I bring a whole bag of food because I never think like their little tiny little whatever fruit snack is not going to fill me up or make my body feel satiated in any way, shape, or form. I usually bring like 2 big giant bottles of water with me because I like to stay hydrated in the sky. So I can't imagine doing this personally. That just sounds like hell to me. But I mean, I guess I don't know. What are your thoughts? It just seems weird to me.
I think it would be really unsettling for the people who are sitting next to you.
Because you're just like a zombie sitting
Yeah,
there.
you're just sitting there, like staring straight ahead. I think at a certain point you would think this person is a serial killer and I'm afraid for my life. That's what I would think, right? It's unsettling.
Yeah, it's really weird. Even watching myself do it was weird.
Right? It's creepy.
It's totally creepy.
Here, we'll do it together. Let's
okay.
see if it freaks out people while they're watching this.
Are you at all worried that they're going to think that the video paused?
They probably will, but it's creepy.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I don't feel good about that.
Oh.
But you know, if they feel better, then go right ahead.
I mean, I guess, but they call it raw dogging. That's not at all what I thought when you said raw dogging. That's not what I was thinking it meant.
I know.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't like who came up with that term. I don't even. Oh, it sounds dirty.
A man.
Okay. Yeah, probably. All right. Well, I have so many stories. It's hard for me to choose. I know from the stories I have, but here's the one I'm going to choose because it feels the most like Derek and Romaine.
Okay.
So this is a story about a Florida woman. Her name is Alyssa Razzo. She is a 20-year-old. And she got herself into some hot water.
Like literally?
So well, yes, actually. So during the Memorial Day weekend, she was with a male friend. And it was like 4:30 in the afternoon, and they were on a pier, and they decided that they wanted a little afternoon delight.
No.
So right there on the pier, they started having sex.
Well, piers do make people horny.
I guess they do. Well, some people spotted them because it was a busy area and in Naples. And so they were spotted, and then the authorities were dispatched. And so the police rolled up on these two having sex. And Alyssa, the 20-year-old woman, decided that she was not going down in a non-sexual way. She
Okay.
was going to escape capture.
Oh God.
Oh God is right. So she went running down the pier, dove into the water, and tried to swim away. Now, how far she thought she could swim, that she would evade capture from the beach police. But it wasn't very far because just down the way on the beach, she eventually made it back to land. And guess what? The beach police were waiting for her.
Of course they
And
were.
she was arrested. Now, she was there with this guy, Zadok Westfield. That was the guy she was having sex with. When the cops arrived, he was completely naked.
Yeah.
So he was arrested while being completely naked. And he decided that the girl was crazy, jumping off the pier and swimming away. So he's like, no, you can just arrest me. Now, witnesses around the area said that lots of children watched these two having sex on the pier, which is why they called the police. And now, and lots of parents had to answer questions about what the two were doing there on the beach and why they got arrested. But that was my story. Now, Derek, if you were having sex on a pier,
Which
would
hasn't ever
you
happened, but okay.
would you try to evade capture by diving into the water and trying to swim away?
No, because they're no. Where are you swimming to? This is the problem I have whenever I would watch Magnum PI or Hawaii Five-O, and there would be some kind of car chase. It's like you're on an island. Where are you going? Where
Right.
do you think you're going?
Yeah, you can't escape from the island. They're gonna catch you eventually.
Yeah, but also, like, you dive into the ocean. Where are you swimming to?
Right. Makes no sense.
Barbados? Like, how far do you think you're gonna get?
I don't
Of
know.
course, they're just gonna stand there and wait for you to start swimming back, and then meet you wherever you are. You're gonna swim a lot slower than they're gonna be able to walk.
Idiots.
Idiots. But if they were bright, they'd be having sex in a car or a motel or at home,
Right.
on a pier where random families can see you. And then, I mean, I guess now they're on the sex offender registry forever. Great job.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I will say, for people who are not actively listening to our daily show, Derek and Romaine, we do have a segment, What the Fuck Florida, and that particular story had been pulled for What the Fuck Florida because, Florida had a lot of crazy fucking stories.
We even have a theme song for
We
it.
do.
But we're not playing it here because we don't want to get into whatever rights issues on YouTube, Okay. And then our last of our regular segments, we got 3 segments here in our short show, is What's Hot About, where we talk about a destination around the world and Romaine and I have been to, and then we talk about what is hot, what we like there, so that if other people are going to be going to one of these places, they can make a note for themselves and check it out, or agree or disagree with us in the comments here.
Yes.
Okay, so because we are going to Dollywood this September for our Great Smoky Weekend, and we're really looking forward to it, our first place for our What's Hot About is Dollywood. Romaine, what's hot about Dollywood?
Well, I love going to Hollywood or to Dollywood. Not Hollywood, Dollywood. It's got a lot of great things to enjoy, from the amusement park to the food to lots of different things. But what I really love is the whole experience of Pigeon Forge, because it is a town unlike any other town I've ever been to. It is 100% a tourist trap filled with all kinds of fun activities for tourists. So they have escape rooms, they have go-kart racing tracks, they have indoor sledding kind of facilities. They have a lot of really cool places that you can go and you can do really fun things. Plus, they have a Waffle House. So
more than one.
I mean, I'm obsessed with it. So I like a lot of things about Pigeon Forge as a town. I think it's a really cool place to just go and discover things. But one of the things I'm going to talk about is one of the things I did last time I was there, which was get this awesome Keith Haring tattoo. Yep, that's right. I got this in Pigeon Forge. Now, some might say, why? I will tell you, because of my...
Can I say that? Why?
Because a very good friend of mine, Aaron, works at a place, Black Orchid Tattoo there in Pigeon Forge.
Wow.
I don't know, it just is. Anyway, her and her wife both work there. Her wife's name is Crystal. And I called her up and I said, "Hey, I'm going to be in town. Will you give me a tattoo?" And so I went, and my wife Iris went, and then our sister wife, still hooking Tracy, went, and we all got tattoos. And it didn't take long. We just went in, for a couple hours and had a lot of fun and laughed and giggled and were silly. And it's just one of those things when you go there, you might find yourself doing an unexpected adventure. Maybe you're doing one of these crazy tracks that go down the side of a mountain and you're in like a little cart and you're flying around like a crazy person. Whatever it is, there's some kind of adventure that you can have there in Pigeon Forge. And I think that's what I like the most about it. So even if you come to say like the Great Smoky Weekend that's happening in September with us, which by the way, tickets are on sale now, greatsmokyweekend.com. You can come and you can go to Dollywood and you can do all the Derek and Romaine events and you'll have a wonderful time. But there's also plenty of time to explore some of the great sites in Pigeon Forge, and I highly recommend go off the beaten path a little bit and find something fun to do.
Okay. I think that is a great suggestion. My favorite thing about Dollywood is the roller coasters. They have great roller coasters at Dollywood. They're up a hill, and it keeps people who don't want to walk up a hill from going. But there are never long lines,
No,
and there are, I don't know, a dozen really terrific roller coasters, and they just added in, I think, the longest roller coaster in North America or something.
amazing.
Another new gigantic coaster. The roller coasters are really fun, but my favorite of the rides at Dollywood, the must visit ride, is the fire rescue ride. Have you ridden on this, Romaine?
Yes.
Okay. Now, before it was Dollywood, it was a regional theme park. And I grew up in Utah. They have a regional theme park there called Lagoon. And, before Disney, it really, and Universal and Six Flags really took over everything, these regional theme parks do their best to compete. And they have this fire rescue ride that is themed around the firefighters because the Smoky Mountains obviously can be prone to forest fires, and they've always had like a fire rescue team there. So they have this indoor ride that is like a mine car roller coaster ride, and it's pretty tame, but it
Super
has
tame.
some of the cheesiest mannequin animatronics.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean, I could write a 10-page essay in the Atlantic about how much I love the cheesy mannequin on that ride. It is, for me, along with the cinnamon bread, the number one reason to go to Dollywood. It is such a beautiful piece of old school theme park Americana, and
Absolutely.
I'm into it. I'm into the whole thing about it. It's cheesy and kind of musty.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, I love it. I love the whole thing about it.
Yeah, that is a great ride, and you're making me want to go on it right now. Even
Well,
though
you'll have
he's
to
right,
wait.
it is not like some kind of thrill-seeking,
No.
amazing rides. It's basically the kind of quality roller coaster you would find at like a carnival, like that comes to town once a year. Like it is not super exciting, but you're right. Those mannequins and the animatronics that are inside are pretty A plus in that they are old school, bad, and amazing all at the same time.
All right. Well, this was only supposed to be about 10 minutes, and now it's like half
Oops.
an hour. So we're struggling to keep on our time schedule. So
That's
uh,
us. That's us.
we will normally do a viewer feedback comments thing at the end, but we've recorded this before anyone has seen any episodes, so we don't have any feedback yet. But maybe next week we will have some of your feedback. But if you have feedback to this episode, of course, you can make comments below here on YouTube, or you can send us comments through the contact form on dnrstudios.com. Thanks for joining us for our first episode of Summer Sessions. And Romaine, I'll see you next Tuesday.
I'm sure you will.
Goodbye.